What's up, guys? I hope you're well. Today we're back with some more Fred Dibnah. This time we are checking out Confessions of a Steeplejack, Part 1.
It was in these early years that Fred first became interested in climbing chimneys.
When I was a very small boy and I used to go to school on the tram, you see these little fellas with flat caps on way up in the sky on top of factory chimneys, and that fascinated me as to how they got all the little platforms up round the top.
And it wasn't
Just
long
chucks
before
his
he was
cigarette.
climbing them himself.
Done.
That's the biggest chimney that there is in Bolton, and when I was 15 years old, I climbed up that for a 10-shilling wager. The Steeplejacks were repairing it, you see, at the time. And one dark winter night, I did do it. I never got the 10 bob, but I got the 2 Union Jacks tied round the lightning conductors, at the top. And they blamed it on the Manchester University students, you see. Well, it weren't them, it were really me.
Fred served his apprenticeship as a joiner, but all the time, despite parental disapproval, he pursued his goal of becoming a steeplejack.
See how we go. All right.
It wasn't really weathercocks, well, actually weather vanes that
Careful,
started my career in steeplejacking off. I'd come fresh out the army and sort of set myself up as a steeplejack of sorts and never managed to get a job, sort of thing, for 6 months. And then I was summoned to meet the vicar of Bolton, a big tall fellow with a long black frock on. He was a canon, which I approached with a great deal of fear and trepidation. And I think the reason he liked me was the fact that he had a 1929 Humber car, and I arrived on my 1927 350 AJS motorbike.
Oh my gosh, look at that thing. Oh, it's
and we got on quite well. He had another interest in common, firearms for a vicar, a bit unusual, but nevertheless. Anyway, we got the job of re-gilding these weather vanes, which enabled me to go and have a do at other vicars with a lot more confidence, and ended up nearly up every church spire in Bolton.
Jeez.
Soon he was
That's
going
awesome.
much further afield.
Really, I've always liked climbing up church spires. There's something magical about them. Once you get right where the point is, it feels quite nice. It's unlike a chimney because, of course, you've not got the bulk of the thing in the way, and like the views are quite splendid.
But for Fred, it was the great mill chimneys that he loved most.
Well, when I first met Fred, it was in the late 60s. Every part of Bolton had mill chimneys. Fred had a lot of work. And as years go by and the cotton industry started failing through imports, of course, the mills went, the chimneys went. So Fred then, a lot of his work came from putting the chimneys down instead of repairing them while they were up.
You get like
How
addicted to
exhilarating
it.
would
You
that be
just
to see in
with
real
it,
life?
like
Holy
day
crap.
and night, think about it, talk about it.
The way Fred did it, he felt more safe with the Victorian methods than he did with modern day methods. He used to say you're not relying on an electric motor, you're relying on nuts and bolts and wood. So Fred knew his business.
Some days you don't want to go. Why the hell did I start this job, But once you've got cracking like it, I always feel that, when I'm really putting big pile of stagings
Holy
up round
crap,
top of
look
a
at
chimney,
that.
like when I've got it all up, it's a work of art, a masterpiece.
I've worked with most large firms, most steeplejacks, but Fred always invented a different way of going about it.
I think the most frightening thing I've done in my life was to do with Fred. I've done a lot of wild things, but he caught me off guard. He was doing this chimney, I think it was in Burnley, and it was a really big one with all this scaffolding at the top, which he always said looked like a crashed biplane that had hit it at the top. Come on, he said, you must come up. So I went on the ladder first and went up, and I mean, after 10 feet I wanted to come down, and he was behind me saying, go on, up you go, keep your knees out, keep your arm, hold on. And I thought, I'm never going to do this. and I couldn't go down because he was behind. And I went up and up. My knees were aching. The wind was blowing round my ears. I couldn't get my feet on the rungs properly. And I got to the top. And when you get to the top, you've got to sort of go out like you did on the old galleons, you know, when you went up onto the fighting top. And he said, go on, go on. And he pushed me up and I got on. And I couldn't move. I just was flat. And he came on, he was walking around like a ballerina. He's saying, look at the view, just look at that. You never see a view like that. And I sort of looked up, and it was grey, and it was wet, and there's a few chimneys and lines of terrace houses. I thought, Mr. Lowry would have loved it. Then he said, do you want a sandwich? And I thought, no, I don't want a sandwich. I couldn't even lift my arm up. And it was the most frightening thing I've ever done in my life, I promise.
Oh, that's awesome. Freaking Fred Dibnah, what a legend. God, what an absolute freaking legend. Man, I would have loved to have met him. But I know there's a part 2, and I do plan on releasing part 2, let's say in a couple hours. So you will get part 2 very, very soon. With that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Stay safe, and don't forget to wash your hands. Bye.